Hey there Cosmic Warriors, and welcome back to another video. Alright, so in today's video we are gonna be taking a look at the intimate relationships, traumas and transformation, all in correspondence with having Pisces ruling the 8th house within your natal birth chart. Now, I recommend you watch this if you have the sign of Pisces ruling your 8th house, but it can also resonate if you have Neptune within your 8th house as well. Now, if you actually are a Pisces yourself, so meaning your sun sign is Pisces, this video may be for you if you have Pisces ruling your 8th house, but it also may not be for you. So I really recommend going to the video that suits you. So for example, if you have Leo ruling your 8th house within your birth chart, then go to the Leo video. Or if you have Cancer ruling your 8th house within the natal birth chart, then go to the Cancer video, and so on and so forth, okay? However, before we do get started, if you would like to know more information all about Scorpio within astrology, so looking at your Scorpio house, looking at Pluto, your Pluto sign, your Pluto house, as well as your 8th house within your birth chart, then I have created a Scorpio season/archetype ebook. So what I am going to do is I'm going to provide a link to that ebook in the description box below so that you can pick up your copy today. Okay, so with all those introductions out of the way, Pisces ruling the 8th house, and also Neptune in the 8th house in a way. Let's do this! Right, so I am going to start off by addressing your approach towards your intimate relationships, followed by possible traumatic emotional blockages that you may have experienced, or just to really bring to your attention, bring to your awareness. And then we're going to finish up by addressing your transformation, okay, Pisces? But all of this is really with the intention of looking at how you can evolve and grow, and how you can ultimately rise up from those hypothetical Scorpio ashes. I mean, Phoenix ashes. My apologies. Just want to say here that I have some sparkling water that I'm currently drinking whilst we get into this. I just felt the need to drink water during this recording. So yeah, there's that. But anyway, looking then at your approach towards your intimate relationships, Pisces, what we really notice here with having Pisces ruling your 8th house is just the lack of boundaries when it comes to intimacy, when it comes to the merging process or really bonding with someone in an emotional sense. And it can be done to such an extreme where you may just completely lose yourself. And from that losing of yourself within somebody else, it can create a lot of confusion, a lot of inner turmoil, and not really being able to identify which emotions are yours and which emotions are from the other person that you're forming that intimate connection with. You basically just may lack barriers within this particular area of your life. So sex, intimacy, even joint finances, it's like you just sort of surrender, or you sacrifice your own identity so that the other person can take over, or so that you don't have to sort of take responsibility or control anything. And whilst that may be quite beneficial to an extent, especially if that person you're with wants to sort of take the reins, right? If they want to sort of take the lead when it comes to the joint finances and how that's all managed and budgeted and organized. But if it gets to the point where you're deceived or you're disillusioned, then it can lead to these disappointments within that union, and then it can lead to uncertainties and just a lack of being able to make your own decisions and know what you exactly want and how to navigate everything. This could even be where you just unconsciously put everything to the side, or you lose kind of control so that the other person can take control. And that may feel good, you know? It's almost like if you're being swept away by the other person's allure or seduction or their deep connection with you, you're being swept away by that, and it's like, oh yes, this person's giving to me, this person's being lovely to me, they're giving me validation, they're seeing all of the different sides to who I am. That feeling, I'm sure, can sort of become this type of movie, right? It's almost like it's too good to be true to an extent. And you're almost in this bubble, you know, this secluded, intimate bubble with another person, and you're merged, and it's got a lot of emotional depth to it that you're perhaps seeking. And like I said, the validation is perhaps there as well. But the moment that reality hits, or your bubble is burst, you know, by reality hitting, I mean when push comes to shove with finances, whenever the other person actually messes the budgets up or the finances up, those reality checks come forth, and then you, Pisces, you may be left dazed, confused. You don't even know where to start. It's like you can just be submissive and hand over everything to someone else unconsciously, where then if they end up messing up, or the ideals or the dream or the fantasy or whatever comes to an end, then you almost don't know what to do. You have to sort of pick up all the pieces, but you don't know where to start because you're so in it. Like, you're so full in. There's no limits. So it's really beneficial, Pisces, for you to learn how to, of course, develop boundaries and become more aware, I think, of how everything's being managed and how much you're receiving and giving and everything, rather than being passive. You know, being really passive about it all and quite just like, oh, well, you know, it's okay, they'll sort it, they'll deal with it, I'll get to that later. Oh yeah, there's always tomorrow, or I believe in fate and destiny anyway, so it'll work out in the end. And sure, maybe there is that spiritual essence, or maybe divine power and timing is working in your favor. But at the same time, is that really worth the losses that you may experience, or is it worth the hurt or the suffering or the sort of sacrificing that you do within that relationship overall? And essentially then, I think it's important for you to really address your whole approach towards intimacy, and just learning how to know, like, what's yours and what's the other person's. And this doesn't necessarily, of course, have to be just financially, but this can be emotionally as well, because I feel with Pisces ruling the 8th house, you're so easily receptive or easily targeted to emotional manipulation or control, and possibly even entering into certain intimate relationships where you're victimized. There can be you becoming victimized or sort of enslaved or trapped in a way in a particular intimate relationship where that other person just calls the shots. Or it could even be where you potentially even call the shots as well. You maybe decide that you want to take control, but whenever you take control, it's maybe done so in a way that you're not even aware of how much you're extending yourself or how much you're doing. And maybe there also can be this other side, like this almost darker side to this placement, where you almost, how do I put this? You can sort of go from intimate relationship to intimate relationship and sort of jump from one to the next, because you're almost seeking like other parts within this person. So there's certain qualities in this person that you really like. There's certain qualities in this person you really like. And then you may sort of jump from person to person, but to the point where you're not even aware of how much you're doing that, and you may kind of just lose yourself in that whole process because you're seeking all these different intimate connections from all these people. And yes, it can be great to be quite open and freeing in that way, or it shows that you are receiving and you're receptive, but it can maybe also lead to these victimized states of being that you may say, oh, well, I didn't know, I didn't see, and perhaps you didn't. You were unaware of what was actually going on. But that's why I think that it's important for you to learn just how to become more aware of yourself and your own boundaries, rather than falling into victimhood with intimate partners, or you even taking partners for all their worth and just absorbing all of that emotional energy or all of that particular like power that you want from them, and then just letting them go or moving on to the next one. So yeah, you may be really good at seducing people, Pisces. You may be very alluring when it comes to your intimate relationships. You may perform certain sexual acts that are just out of this world. You may be the fantasy for your sexual partner, but it's still a question of how long are you willing to commit? How long are you wanting that to last for? Is there actually some sort of substance to it? Or is it just for that one night stand? Is it just for that 1 week, one weekend, until you move on to the next one? But I feel like the more you run away from yourself through other people, maybe the more emotionally complex things actually become. Pisces, you just might use your intimate relations as a way to escape what's actually going on inside of you. You know, maybe there were, or there have been, past traumas from childhood that were much too difficult to handle. And I suppose in a way this leads on to traumas, okay? Leading on to this. So is it possible here, Pisces, that you've experienced the death of a loved one that you disassociated with? You didn't really process it. You just kind of let it go over your head, or you didn't even grieve it properly. Or maybe you were so concerned with everybody else, helping everybody else around you, supporting them, comforting them, being there for them, but you didn't properly process that emotion or that event for you. And this, of course, can make you a magnetic, extremely incredible healer. You know, you Pisces, you're the type of person, or people, because of course there's more than just one of you, but you're the type of people who will enter into a room and just pick up on all of those undertones, right? You just pick up on everyone's dynamic, and especially the sexual pull that you feel. It's like you can even look at someone and sort of intuitively feel into their sexuality and be like, yeah, I have a feeling that I know what your sexual orientation is without you even having to tell me or open your mouth. But then on that note, you can also be quite that seducer, that enchanting, picture perfect almost, or even projected, idealized figure for others to gravitate towards you. And that can be a strength that can be used for good, to help others, heal others, be there for others. But of course it can also be used for destructive measures, where maybe you sort of cross even the barriers or boundaries of yourself with others as well. You know, I've said about your own boundaries and how important it is to develop your own boundaries, but even your own boundaries have to correspond with the boundaries of others. Because if you have a lack of boundaries and you're so easily receptive towards other people, then that may suggest also that you're likely to cross that threshold or just kind of go all in with someone else and not really care about their boundaries. So just be aware of this, because maybe some people are not ready to open up. Maybe some people are not ready to dance with you or talk to you. Maybe some people just want to stay in their own little bubble, in their own world. And maybe you look at that as a rejection or like something that's hurtful towards you, because how could they not see you? Like, how could they not see the good intentions? You may mirror back the traumas, the inner complexes, the inner demons to other people, and maybe people are blinded by it. It's like, stop, Pisces, no, I'm not ready. And that can be quite a difficult thing, because it can make you feel misunderstood and like you're alone in all of it, like no one's really going to properly get it. And so yeah, you know, looking at this healing, you can be a great healer in that way, but you still have these traumas, I think, that maybe stem back from childhood in correspondence with your own sense of value, identity. You may be this person who is so good at delivering what everybody wants them to see within you, very good at it, playing those roles, but you can only do that for so long. And so you may be in this state of denial, you know, kind of going back to these traumas, okay? So death of a loved one, possibly you were victimized as well, perhaps in a sexual way. Maybe there was sexual exploitation, or maybe there was dominance and control, power struggles from a young age. And these same things have definitely made you stronger emotionally, much more emotionally resilient, but at the same time maybe also much more closed and guarded and a little bit more secretive. And so you may unknowingly only let people see what they want to see within that mirror. Maybe you're unclear even about your own sexuality. Maybe you don't really identify with a particular gender. Maybe you're just good with polyamory. You know, each to their own. You know, it's your life, you live it the way you live it. But I feel as if you are constantly just out there, floating, disassociating, not wanting to become attached towards your own emotional complexes and traumas. Maybe it's even difficult for you to remember certain things, how to exactly pinpoint that experience, pinpoint that time whenever a parent left, or someone died, or someone became addicted to a certain substance and everybody in your family had to deal with that and address that. You almost know that there's feelings and there's emotions that you hold towards the past, but at the same time you can never quite pinpoint like what exactly happened and how it made you feel and what was your reaction, and was it that you just sort of threw everything to the side and decided to like go into your own bubble whilst trying so much to keep everybody else together? Was that your way of coping? Is it possible that even when it comes to how you cope with these traumas, you turn to drugs and substances yourself as a way to numb it? You know, it could even be turning to food. It could even be a possibility here that you've harmed yourself. You've sort of taken out your own pain on yourself as a way to cope, as a way to numb it. And there can be that release that you feel. There's a possibility even here that you're addicted to sex, pornography. There's many of different things that you could be addicted to or have been addicted to within your life as a way to cope with all of this, or to cope with the past. You know, it could even be where a dear friend of yours committed suicide or they overdosed when they were younger, and that was your friend. Maybe it was even their own family. You know, Pisces it's much more to do with the collective unconscious, so there can even be this real yearning to stand up for everybody else, you know, to look at the world around you, to look at the globe and see all the pain and the suffering and those who are helpless, who really need help. And you, Pisces, then what you do is you may seek to support those people by sacrificing yourself in a way, by putting your own intense, intimate emotions to the side, because you see that there's more at stake, there's more out there to help with rather than you. And I feel that that can be really admirable, and it can be really great as well, and it shows just how much you do care about other people. But if you're denying yourself, if you're in the dark, if you're not addressing what's really going on inside of you, then it may be really difficult for you to sort of release a lot of past traumatic experiences. Pisces, you just may be in a state of self-denial, or you may be in a state of always feeling sorry for yourself, but yet not actually properly wanting to give yourself permission to heal or transform through it, because maybe your own sort of transformation is much more wrapped up in everybody else. You know, this could even be where you have been betrayed before, you've been lied to before, maybe you've been in an intimate relationship before and you gave it your all, you went all in, and you maybe got swept away by the fantasy, by the dream with this person. But then as soon as the disappointing, disillusioned event happened, it may have just created that then very intense dissatisfaction and just that lack, that like, how could this person do this to me? I can't believe this happened, and constantly like going back into it and so confused by it. It could even be here, right, where you have been with someone before intimately and it was so good. It was so good and it was great and it was everything that you thought it would be and more. But then it ended suddenly out of nowhere. It just ended. Maybe they cheated. Maybe there was that deception. Maybe they were the one who overdosed or died themselves. But then you move forward into your life and you may have this outlook where it's, well, I'm not going to be with anybody else until they reenact the exact same vision that I had with my previous partner. I'm just not taking it anymore from other people unless they align with that ideal. I'm not doing it. That's what I want. I want the dream to come true again. Oh, that's exhausting. That's so exhausting. You know, it's really important to accept people for who they are and to embrace that sort of newness to another relationship or another intimate connection coming in. And maybe you constantly yearn for that connection again. It's like, I'm not going to go into this until I feel that same amount of love and empathy. But for how long will you do that? Is that maybe why you decide that, nah, actually I'm just gonna be more free and do what I want? Maybe are you potentially scared of letting somebody else in again if you have lost someone that you loved so dearly, are you afraid of letting someone else in, Pisces? Truly, close, closely to you. But you know, this leads on to the transformation process, and I feel that part of the transformation process really lies in you becoming aware of your tendency to project your unconscious fantasies onto your intimate partners, to live up to those certain idealistic expectations that they're never going to live up to because they are their own person. I also think that it would be really beneficial for you to stop hiding your sexuality, stop hiding who you truly are within an intimate relationship, because you know, this is another thing that maybe you have been with someone before and you actually put your own identity, your own sexual preferences, what you really enjoyed, what you really liked, you put those things to the side to give and serve and please this other person. You almost like subconsciously sacrificed your own desires in that way, your own sexual needs. And so it's really important for you to not to hide these things, not to keep them a secret, to bring them up, to integrate them, to let them be known. You can just be so selfless in that way, but I feel that that can just result in such a lack, like this emotional unfulfillment, emotional dissatisfaction. So perhaps it would be good for you to learn how to bring out that sexual desire, the sexual desires that you truly have, and let them out. Even in terms of your own sexual orientation, communicating that rather than always hiding, keeping things private, and also with your own vulnerabilities, you know, looking at how maybe you find it quite overwhelming to really properly merge with someone else, or especially with joint finances, it's like, oh, it's a lot, like it's scary, you know, you sort of not want to do that, but that in itself is like a vulnerability because there's actual proper responsibilities and deadlines and different time structures that's needed in order to manage all of that and organize that. So maybe it's good to learn how to communicate that as well, the things that you are vulnerable towards within that particular intimate relationship. And you know, looking at the joint finances and really just expressing how overwhelmed you can become with them. And also in terms of your own emotions that can sweep you away sometimes within the intimate relationship, where you maybe go in and out of these moods where maybe there's time when you need solitude, you need your seclusion, you gotta listen to your music, your beats or whatever. Learning how to communicate that as well, because you may be passive about all of this. You may just kind of wander off or do something, and then whenever you're called out on it by an intimate partner, it's like, well, I don't need to explain myself to you. I can do what I want here. Okay? You can do what you want too. It's fine. Like, it's fine. This is why it's good just to communicate instead of being passive or thinking, oh my gosh, I'm gonna hurt this person's feelings if I do this or do that. Just say it, you know? Oh my gosh. It's just so much better to say it and to let it be known, let it out. But I do think that there is an importance here in showing compassion to yourself, showing empathy, remorse to yourself, especially when it comes to your traumas. You know, if you've been through something, if you've experienced sexual exploitation, control, dominance, power plays, whatever, like show yourself empathy, show yourself compassion, but then also likewise show compassion towards your partner. You know, looking at them as an individual person, you know, rather than taking it all on as your own. Just they're their own person and they've probably been through their own stuff as well. And so it's good to sort of meet in the middle and kind of elaborate on that a little bit, but show that compassion towards the two of you. And also Pisces, maybe it would be a good idea with the transformation process to think about how you would like to be served. Think about the things that will bring you emotional healing and plenty of emotional depth that you seek. Instead of you kind of being the one who, yeah, you're like giving all the emotions out there, but what are you wanting in return? What are you expecting from others? Or are you expecting anything at all? Are there even boundaries to play with here? You know, maybe even looking at the boundaries then. What are your boundaries within these intimate relations that you form with others? Or is it that you're just constantly sexually victimized by other people and you're just kind of like going with it? You know, you gotta think about what you want, how you would like to be treated. And also, lastly, with the transformation process, just really looking at those times that you try to numb the pain, try to numb yourself, becoming aware of those unconscious emotional complexities that you flirt with the idea of doing as a way to escape certain situations. Okay then, Cosmic Warriors, so that concludes my video on the intimate relationships, traumas, and transformation, all connected with having the sign of Pisces ruling your 8th house within your birth chart, but also it can resonate for those of you with Neptune in your 8th house as well. Now, if you do happen to have Pisces ruling your 8th house or Neptune in the 8th, then let us know your thoughts and opinions on today's video in the comment section. But with all that being said, thank you so much for watching, thank you for subscribing, and of course, if you would like to see more videos from myself and you have not yet subscribed, then go right ahead and click that subscribe button. And I will be back with another video very, very soon. Bye!